This video will cover Year 9 linear solving. This is the fundamentals test preview, so these are C-level style questions. I'll put some time tags down the bottom for question numbers for anyone following along with the practice test, and I'll put some descriptions of the type of questions for anyone who wants to just skip to the sort of question they'd like some help with. Question 1A is a substitution question, and they've given you a formula, which is really just a equation. And what they've done is they've given you some values, 5 and 12, to substitute in place of the letters. So it's just a simple case of writing out the equation again, a equals r squared plus 2h, but instead of writing r, I'm going to put a 5 in instead because r is 5. And I've got 2 times h, which has become 12. And now I'm just going to solve it. I need to remember to use my order of operations, so that's back to BODMAS if anyone's forgotten about that. So BODMAS. Are there any brackets? No. Are there orders? Yes, there are. These ones are orders here, so that'll be my first step. So 5 squared is 25. And after that, I've got multiplication before addition, so it will become 25 plus 2 times 12, which is 24. And so A will be 49. And I better remember my units, centimetres squared. Not forgetting, if you go back here, it's the area of a shape. So I'll get my units right. Question 1b is using the same formula, but they've given us some different values to substitute in instead. So this time we'll write out our formula again. A equals r squared, but instead of r, it'll be a 6 squared plus 2 times h, and this time h is 28. So slightly bigger numbers to work with this time. Work on our next line. So we've got 6 squared, which is 36. And we've got double 28, which is going to be 56. And then what we'll do is we will add them together, which will give us 92 square centimetres. Again, it's an area question. Question 2 is giving us a range of substitution questions again. So they've given us some values for A, B and C, and then they've just given us some expressions to substitute them into. So we'll start with 2A. 2A is going to be rewritten as 2 times B, which is negative 2. It's a funny looking 2. Plus C, which is 5. And then we're remembering BODMAS again, so multiplication before addition. So 2 times negative 2 is minus 4, plus 5. Is going to be 1. Question 2b, we've been given our values for b and a, so we're going to rewrite our equation. It's going to be 4 times b divided by a. So we're going to end up with minus 8 over 3, and we'll leave the answer as a fraction. Question 2c, we've been given our values for c, b and 1. They're up here in the question. So we're going to go with c times b plus 1. Brackets before multiplication, so we know that we need to become 5 times minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. 5 times minus 1 is minus 5. Question 2d, we've got b squared. Don't forget, if you're using brackets, a calculator, you've got to put that in brackets. And we've got c squared. And so minus 2 times minus 2 is positive 4. And 5 times 5 is 25. So the answer to this one is 29. Question 2e, we've got b minus c all divided by a. So we've got minus 2 minus 5 makes minus 7 over 3, and we'll leave this one as a fraction answer. Question 2F, we've got 2 times a squared minus c squared. Okay, we have to do our orders before we do our multiplication or addition and subtraction. So we've got 2 times 9, 3 3s are 9, minus 5 squared, which is 25. Don't get confused here, okay? It's not a negative 5 that's getting squared here. It's only a positive 5, okay? So we will be taking away 25. And so what we end up with is 18 minus 25, and that will give us the answer, negative 7. Question 3, we're using the balance method. So we're just systematically working our way back to x. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is add 7 to get rid of it. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So all I have left is 4x, and all I have left over here is 8. In the second step, I've got 4 over here. It's a multiplication, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is to divide. That removes it. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So all I have left is x, and all I have left is 2. Question 3b, I'm using the balance method. So I'm going to pick on the thing that stands out by itself. This 4 is standing out. It's a positive 4, so I'm going to take 4 away. That will eliminate it. Anything I do on one side, I must do to the other. All I have left is 2 h's, and all I have left over here is 5. It says 2 times h, so I'm going to divide by 2. Anything I do on one side, I'm going to do to the other. So all I have left here is h equals 5 halves, and I'll leave it as a fraction answer. Question 2c, 3c, sorry, is another balance method question. So this time I'm going to subtract 16. I'll do the same to the other side. All I have left here is negative c, and all I have left on the other side is 6. Now to shift over this negative, what I'm actually doing is I'm dividing by negative 1 on both sides. Okay, and that moves it so that c becomes negative 6. In actual case, what's happening, most people just remember to just flip the negative over to the other side, but that's the correct way to do it. Question 3d, balance method. Let's get rid of this 7 first. It says to minus 7, so I'm going to add 7. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. All I have left here is m over 3, and all I have left here is 9. I need to get rid of the 3. It says divide, so I'm going to times. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other, so m is 27. Question 3e, balance method. I'm going to move the 7 first. It says divide, so I'm going to multiply. That'll remove it. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. All I have left is m minus 3 equals minus 14. This time I'll move the 3. It's a negative, so I'm going to add 3. Anything I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So all I'm left with is m. All I'm left with here is negative 11. Question 4 is a substitution question that the second part of it is to use the balance method to solve it. So what you've been given is a formula. So we'll take that formula and we'll write it out so it's nice and clear. We've got the perimeter of a paddock is 3 times x plus 2 times y. And what we'll do is we will replace the letters with numbers where we can. So we'll use substitution. So we know that p is 60, so we'll make p 60. And we know that x is 4, so we'll say 3 times 4. And the 2 y's we can't help. Next, we will simplify what we can. So the 60 can come down. We can multiply 3 and 4 to make 12. And we've got 2 y's. Now what we might do is we'll take this up and I'll rewrite it so it's nice and clear. And now we're just using the balance method. So I'll get rid of that 12 by subtracting it. Anything I do to one side, I've got to do to the other. All I'm left with here is 48, and I'm left with 2 y's over here. 2 times y, so we'll divide by 2 to get rid of the 2. Same on the other side. And so we're left with 24 equals y. So the answer is 24. Question 5 wants us to write an algebraic equation and then solve it. So it tells us that the difference, which means minus, between some number, so let's call that x, and 8, is multiplied, so times, by 7 to give 21. So let's write that as a sentence. The difference between some number and 8 is multiplied by 7 to give the answer 21. And now what we're going to do is solve it. We've got two choices. We could expand and then simplify, but I can see here nicely that 7 will go into 21 3 times really nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 7 rather, to eliminate it. And I'll do the same to this side. And so in my next line, I'll have the x minus 8 and 3. And then all I need to do is just add 8 to both sides. And all that I'll have left is x, and all I'll have left is 11. Question 6 is like question 5. It wants us to write an equation and then it wants us to solve it. So a number, again, let's just call that x again, is doubled, so it's times by 2, and then it's added, so plus to 112 to give 146. So let's write that sentence out as an algebraic equation. So a number is doubled, and then it's added to 112 to give 146. And now all we need to do is just solve it using the balance method. So let's take 112 from both sides. All I'll have left is 2x. All I'll have left is 34. Now I'm going to divide by 2 and do the same to the other side. All I'll have left is x. All I have left is 17.